Well, it's the day before Passover, Pesach, and it's a holiday of freedom. So what does that mean? Hopefully we all love America. I love America. America was a safe haven for my mother, Holocaust survivor from Poland, for my father's parents, escaping Russian pogroms, and for me, growing up. But what about all the lies we're told? Are we given truth about who we are, about life, about this journey, about how brief it is, and what it's all about? And what is freedom? We talk about freedom, but what really is freedom? So, I experienced chasing answers, went to Princeton, did medical school in New York, did orthopedics, was a major in the Air Force, looking for answers. How come it wasn't until the age of 35 that I could make some sense of what was going on? And the answers I found were not the answers that I was being told or sold. And, dealing with pain as an orthopedic surgeon, dealing with the body, there's a lot of pain out there. We each have a package of pain. Pain comes from multiple sources, and it's part of life. But there's reasonable pain, and there's unreasonable pain. And so how do you shed the shackles of pain, of struggle, of aloneness? We come into this life as a little nothing, but it's a soul and a body. If we're just a body, what's really the point of it all? As a soul, a minuscule, non-physical, minuscule piece of godliness, that's the real us. But we're hidden. We see ourselves as body and body parts, and when we have sickness, as diseased body parts, and that's how the doctors treat us. For all those years in medicine, I couldn't understand why God and soul were not a part of medical practice, teaching, and understanding. Because, let's face it, the doctors didn't make us. The guys in the white coats didn't make us. We come from a higher source. And the soul is a piece of godliness. So what the heck is going on? What's going on with all the pain, with school shootings, with transsex, with homosexuality, with crime, murder, with emptiness, with going to doctors and going online and seeing umpteen products that will solve your problem? What's the truth in it all? So, very simple. There's a source. A raindrop or a piece of sand is nothing. Nothing by itself. But a raindrop cycles with the rain clouds in the ocean. And a piece of sand, part of the seashore. Then you've got something. We're nothing. As just a body, come from the dirt and go to the dirt. And the worms. So, what are we? We are a soul essence. That's science. We know as a soul that the body is simply the wrapper, the vessel, the spacesuit, whatever you want to call it, and you need to keep it intact and keep it wholesome. But it's not us. We're a soul essence, a piece of godliness. And God is the source. No healing happens without God. You can have all the surgery, take all the pills. You're not healed. It's a process that goes on after you're treated by the doctor. Doctors don't understand how a scrape heals. You can put bones together, not healed. Have surgery, not healed. And we see problems in medicine. But what was always lacking for me is lack of talking with people as soul entities. You become a body part. You become a disease state. Instead of doctors from Dosara, teacher, elevating and helping people be whole is shrink them down. What, you know, Passover, Pesach is about freedom and opening up, being full. And how do you do that? The soul and the body, just think about it. It's in prison. The body is confining. How do you get out? How do you escape? Change your body, change your sex, plastic surgery, put on an outer shell of makeup, clothes, a car, house, build shells around yourself to make or even just building muscles or having the sexy girl or the guy on your arm. I mean, does this cover for the loneliness that we have, the pain of soul and body? Is this going to fix it? You change your sex, is that going to fix it? You're stuck in a body again. You're going to tell me there's less pain being man or woman? Not that you're actually man or woman, but what is this mutilation and changes of the body and the shells going to do to solve our problems? You know, we have addictions out the wazoo. Basic things, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, depression. You can be addicted to depression. What is depression? Opioids, deaths, suicides. What's the heck's going on? So we discussed it in previous live videos, but you know, the real issue I want to address is the lies that we're getting. Because to be whole, you need to be in partnership with God, just like a raindrop at the ocean and a piece of sand with the seashore. The soul needs to be combined with God. When you can have an ongoing conversation with God about your day, about your moment, about your life, about your expectations, your anticipations, your fears, your loves, when you can connect with truth, which is always truth, doesn't change. We in the physical have many differences, but the truth of the soul-God connection is real. And in healthcare, to deal with healthcare without giving God connection and soul identity as part of the solution, we're spreading lies. We're spreading lies, because where does healing come from? Does it come from your doctor, from the pill, from the hospital, from the MRI, from all these things being advertised today that'll solve your bone-on-bone knee problem, or your back pain, or your migraines, or all the other problems that there might be? What the heck is all this stuff? Loads of lies. It's like hair tonic. Loads of lies. You know, the truth is, you don't want to have your problem. But then you can build all kinds of lies on top of that truth. So what I found in my life, whereas up till age 35, always had a sense of pain and loneliness in life. I wasn't looking to change my body. I wasn't looking to be somebody else. I just wanted to find answers. I thought there'd be answers. I thought you could press a button and be answers. But bumping into the concept of soul and the concept of God at age 35, and why it took so long. But there came truth. There came truth. So, you know, what's happening out there? Let's look at mental health. Let's look at mental health. You know, these psychiatrists say that they have the answers. So whether we're talking anxiety, stress, depression, addiction, opioids, death, suicide, and all the problems that we have in America and worldwide, the foundational answer for everybody is connectedness. First, find yourself within the big picture. Find the truth about soul and body. Second, connectedness to God. Your soul as a piece of godliness and connected to God. Then you can find wholeness, wellness, peace within the body you have. And in dealing with pains, in dealing with problems, to find truthful answers, we need to have a sense of what power the soul has over the body, and the power of the Creator, God, on us, and the interaction of soul and God on the body. The body being the God-created collection of living machines that we have here to live our purpose in the physical. So, you know, it's painful to see the pain we've got in America right now, to see schools, one after another, with somebody going in and shooting up innocent people, children, teachers. There is no ability to express the pain when America was founded on such beautiful concepts and God and freedom. But freedom doesn't mean you're the center of the world, you do anything you want. That's not freedom. Unless you have boundaries, you have no freedom. We live with systems, driving. No boundaries, freedom to do whatever you want. Explain street lights, stop signs, police needing to be there, accidents, running out of gas, flat tire. How does all this manage? You need a system that works, and people working together and helping each other. Freedom does not mean run amok. In a computer, you miss a dot, you miss a letter, a space, you're not going to get where you're going. Every system, whether it's health, law, math, physics, biology, the systems work because we accept boundaries, borders. Well, what about our lives? What about soul and body? How does it work? You have a choice of another body. You know, what does it mean if you want to cut up your body? What does it mean when you're putting on your clothes or the outer garments or whatever you're doing? Do you understand why you're doing it? Are you simply looking for mom and dad to love you and you never had that love? Do you want attention? You're simply infancy, needy, and want attention. You want people to look at you and notice you. Piercings, tattoos, different color hair, whatever it is. Obviously, these are to get attention. Well, God loves us all. God sustains us. The fact that we're all here means God has a purpose for us. But it's up to us to uncover it. How do you relate with God? You know, I told a story how my mother survived 2 years in a hole in the ground, age 14 to 16. And she told me many times that the main thing she was able to do was talk with God. You know, you can talk, you can think thoughts, and know that God hears, and know that God is taking care, even through pain and struggle and challenge and sickness, etc. And it's this connectedness that solves the loneliness, that solves the sense of emptiness that so many people feel. And unfortunately, where are you going to get God and soul? Are you going to get it from the leaders of the country? It'd be nice if we knew about God and soul from the leaders, the way they lived and the way they made policies. It'd be nice in healthcare. That's supposed to be about wholeness and teaching and bringing us to be more, not whittling us down to less, that we got concepts of God and soul. It'd be nice from the legal system that we knew about God and soul, that we saw truth, that evil and good were recognized, the light and the dark, the wrong and the right, that we could see it manifested. Not that the victim, unfortunately, is a servant of the evildoer. You know, that we know more about the ones perpetrating the bad than we know about the innocent lives of the good. You know, we'll talk about mental health. You've got three major conditions. I mean, beyond anxiety and stresses, you've got three major conditions. You've got depression, you've got bipolar or manic depression, you've got schizophrenia. And without concepts of God and soul, because they're not in psychiatry generally, they're not in medicine. So what do you have? You're told you have this disease. It's going to be lifelong. We have all kinds of treatments. We can just keep adding on one after another. And you've got a label for life, and it's genetic or chemical. So how are you going to get around that? I mean, it's a beautiful system of lies, I think. And people struggle. They struggle to make sense. Now, if you've gone to alcohol and you developed an addiction, we know that 12 steps works. We know that there's a system with connection to creator, connection to a group, where you can correct your problem. You can remove this action of drinking alcohol inappropriately. Well, what happens in mental health? Why can't we remove the problem by connection to God and by behavior and connectedness? You know, I is ill, we say, meaning you focus just on the you, and really that I is more body and material. But we as well. We is knowing, soul and body is a we, and soul and God is a we. And soul, God, and helping others, loving kindness to others is a we. But what happens in mental health? What happens with all the problems? What's depression? What if depression is simply a need to connect with God, but God is not one of the solutions in healthcare, in mental health? God is not a solution. To find your soul connection with God and find balance and harmony and peace in your existence in soul-body relationship. You know, depression, we see a butterfly, we see in nature, a butterfly, you start as a caterpillar, goes to butterfly, there's a cocoon phase. What happens in the cocoon phase? If you don't know the life cycle of the caterpillar to butterfly, you'll think the cocoon phase going into a casket, going to die. So you cut it out so it can stay the crawling caterpillar. But this is a physical transformation programmed by God, Creator, happens instinctually, and you're going to have a beautiful colored winged flying butterfly. But it has to go through a phase of cocoon, which is vulnerability, silent, dark, isolated, alone. And the lobster, same thing, but it does this multiply. It starts as a soft creature in a hard shell. The soft creature grows, and it needs to find a dark crevice to hide. Shed the shell, because it's become painful. It's not able to accommodate the growth of the soft creature. The soft creature drinks a lot of water, creates a new accommodating larger shell, and goes forward. Well, again, that hiding to survive, where the soft creature of the lobster is vulnerable, dark, typically silent, isolated. This is a phase, and the lobster does this multiply, so we do the same. But we have the potential to do this on a soul level, not a physical level. And so, and that concept of what is depression? Depression would be the vulnerable, isolated, dark, silent, lonely cocoon or dark crevice phase in the transformation, the physical transformation for butterfly and lobster. So we do this potentially multiply. I had to do it hundreds of times perhaps, in terms of finding myself from mind and body to soul and body. Huge transformation for me. And then every step of learning about who I am as a divine soul. And what does that mean? What am I in connection with God? And to make God my other half on a soul level. That what I do is in consideration of God wants of me. See, the boundaries that are placed on us, if you don't recognize the real boundaries, that the soul is housed in a body, and you get the body that you deserve, and the challenges are what you deserve. It is what it is. We're all different in terms of body, yet on a soul level, we're perhaps the same. In that soul is a piece of godliness and has a purpose here. What's the purpose? So the purpose is creating meaning from this physical existence and to bring the awareness of God and godliness into the mainstream. Why? Because God expresses loving kindness to his creations by providing everything we need. It's a statistical impossibility that it all is the way it is. You know, that we have what we need to breathe, what we need to drink, what we need to clothe, what we need to house, what we need to survive, that it's all here. And, you know, we take a lot of things for granted, that the sun comes up, the moon, the planets, the earth, that what is. But we take for granted very often without acknowledging the source. When we acknowledge the source, we find our own place in everything. And the place requires responsibilities. It's like being part of any system. You can't just go willy-nilly on the road in your car, or in a plane in the sky, or in a boat on the water. You can't get where you want to go in the computer or social media unless you have a direction. You need to know your destination. So, and it needs to be realistic. You know, you're not going to walk from here to the other side of the planet. You need to know how you're getting there and how things work. So the human body works in conjunction with the creator of the body. There's healing that is ongoing that comes from God. Not that everything's going to heal, but healing is an ongoing process and is required with any treatment from anybody or anything. So whatever is done from health provider, from doctor, with the tools such as a medicine or a surgery or procedure, has to be in conjunction with knowing how the body works. But if there's no God to understand a realistic time for resolution of back pain, or how a scrape heals, we don't do surgery for a scrape, and yet it's going to be a period of time for it to heal. Yet other things, we're jumping into surgeries and procedures overnight. Crazily, people want to press a button and have a solution. It's unrealistic. And we do well with emergencies, but to know what's an emergency, it's the idea of triage, to know what's what can wait electively, what's urgent, and what's emergent. Very important to know. You know, for profit motive, everything can be emergency or urgent. You need to have some smarts And in order to get those smarts and the wisdom, it's a matter of, once again, bringing God into your life conceptually, knowing that God is God and that God is your partner is just so important in terms of navigating your life here. Finding happiness requires God. True happiness through all the challenges requires knowing that God's in charge of everything ultimately, despite our choices and free will, and that everything's for the good. Accepting that, living in the moment, and your thermostat of mental contentment to tweak and say, I'm okay with whatever is, and you'll do the best you can to make things better for the future. But, okay, so we talked about depression. Depression, the way I see it, is the soul is empty and hungry for God. You go into all kinds of other solutions, and even if you're in religious practice, and that's a whole question, am I talking religion or am I talking about a way of life? An understanding of how we're made up as a science and a way of life. Because, the truth is the truth. Who delivers the truth? Who shares the truth with you? That can be a problem because we're not perfect. So whoever is going to connect you to truth is talking from a fallible, imperfect, non-angelic place, including me. I'm nothing. I'm just trying to share what I call wisdom that I found, that seeing suffering of my mother, seeing pain out there, suffering of peoples historically and in the present, seeing thousands of patients suffering from physical complaints and from soul pain, non-physical pain, and depression very often. Found depression accompanies physical issues. But depression, again, being a lack of godliness, very often to solve the physical, you want to be whole. A doctor should take you to Sarah, a teacher should take you to wholeness. And wholeness means soul connected to God. And as a team, you and God as soul, divine soul and God, conquer the physical problem. And if you need a doctor or a tool, not just all those tools for sale for lots of money out there for profit motive. It's another God. People are going to all kinds of things. Products, technology, social media, people online, doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, for answers in their life when everybody knows something. But is it what you need to know? There's a story about the tailor who, the guy's getting married, he goes to the tailor, says he's getting married, he needs a suit. The guy says, no problem. Comes in, gets fitted for his pants, comes back, one leg's too long, one's too short. Guy says, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. Come back for his shirt to be fitted. Again, neck too tight, one arm too leg, one too long, shirt too long. He doesn't get it, but the tailor says everything's gonna be fine. Makes his jacket, everything, nothing's fitting right. So when he comes in for everything at the end, the tailor says, okay, you're gonna walk like this. So the guy comes in, he's getting married, nothing's fitting right, and he walks, he looks like a cripple. And everybody says, oh my God, she's marrying this guy? Look at him. Oh, wow, he must have an excellent tailor. So to think that you have a problem that is something that the doctor treats, everybody's going to get their back surgery. Now you're not just going to get disc removed, you're going to get a metal, and there are a million different tools out there to apply just for back pain, which 80+% of the population, $100 billion a year spent, it's crazy. Back pain? What about simply full range of motion stretching? What about living your life? We're living sedentary lives. All right, anyway, sedentary, reminds me of depression, you know, stuck in that hole without God. So, and they're going to tell you you're depressed, it's a disease, it's genetic, it's chemical, you're stuck, and for life, you're dealing with no solution. And who's going to come with you with a God solution? And how do you connect with God? Are you going to find that truth? How are you going to do that? But I believe that's the answer to depression. For religious people, for non-religious people, you need more connectivity, more God electricity. And you, God's always there. It's about you finding God in your life. Okay, what's bipolar manic depression? Well, if your primary connection is with God on a soul level, and physically enacting that connection, meaning you're living in the service of God, not in the service of yourself. It's not about you. It's you have your boundaries in life, the soul and the body. You've got your eyes, your ears. Yeah, healthcare can help with different issues. But your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your arms, your legs, your neck, etc. They're yours. Those are the tools you have to navigate. So connecting with God, which is key, but what happens if you don't have that God connection? But you have a passion for life, you know, the soul and the body, everything's invigorated. There's this energy from the soul that's ready to be applied. And if really God made us wanting us to put that passion for God, but what happens if you put it somewhere else? So today it's money, you're high. Tomorrow you lose the money, you go down, you're low. Stock market goes up, you're high. Goes down, you're low. You get into working out, making muscles, you're high. Sprain your ankle, you're low. You're dating this girl or guy, you go high. They break up, you go low. Meaning, what happens if the passion for life, instead of in balance, that the passion and connection is primarily with God, and then your other connections and relationships, what happens if you're up beyond a waveform that's healthy? Many of us have been there. Many of us have been lacking God, feeling depressed. Many of us have been. And also anxiety. Anxiety is what? Anxiety and worry are not having a faith that God is with you, that everything's for the good. So you become responsible, or you make somebody else responsible. So bipolar manic depression would be going beyond a healthy, balanced waveform, which is life. It's like breathing in and out, and the heart pumping. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. It's like light and sound. There's that waveform. So bipolar is your connections are not balanced with God first, and then knowing how to approach things of your life. And what's schizophrenia? You know, like Dr. Nash from Beautiful Mind. I used to see him wandering the campus, Princeton, Nobel Prize winner, became schizophrenic. What does that mean? So it seems to me that, you know, our lives are full of, just watch the news, listen to people, open your brain, your ears, your heart, listen to what they're saying. Are you getting the truth? Your parents might try and give you the truth, but are you getting the truth? So, deceit, deception, diversion, distraction, you're taken away from truth. Somebody taking drugs, are they going to truth or are they harming themselves? They're escaping. They're escaping the soul and body. They're running from God. They're running from where the answers are. You know, do you need surgery? Instead of talking about drugs, what about surgery? Do you need a surgery to get cut up for a catharsis, to find God, to find peace and harmony? Or can you do it without surgery? Do you need the doctor? Or do you need God? Do you need the chiropractor, the acupuncturist, the homeopath? Do you need any of this stuff? So it's like taking food. I can eat a banana, and I read that banana has a lot of nutrients, and if you're going to eat one thing a day, it's not the apple, it would be the banana. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But hopefully, banana isn't filled with too many toxins, and I'm getting something healthy. But what about all the things we're hearing out there? What about all the things being sold today? It's off the wall crazy. We're out of balance. America's out of balance. The world is out of balance. We see evil perpetuating evil. And the good is, we're not in first place. So, America, we need to team up and find the good. Now let's get back to schizophrenia. So schizophrenia is what? Talked about depression, a lack of godliness, and anxiety. We talked about bipolar being, again, a lack of godliness, yet a passion being applied to other things. And you're the center of everything, not God, but you. So that when something fails you, that put your energy in, you go down. But the depression is what? It's again a lack of God. But then you fill it with an idol, with something false. So, and schizophrenia is what? Dr. Nash I was talking about, A Beautiful Mind, the book and the movie. So what happens in schizophrenia? They say that schizophrenic people have a high IQ. Very bright people become schizophrenic. Yet again, depression, bipolar, schizophrenic. They don't have an answer. Psychiatrists don't understand. What do they tell you? Genetic, chemical. Yeah, look, genetics does certain things. And chemicals follow actions. Thought, speech, and action create the chemicals that we carry. Schizophrenia. So I live in this world, the physical world, and the spiritual, my spiritual life at the same time. And it's an ongoing thing, moment by moment, through the day, through the year. And, with Passover coming up, Pesach, it's about freedom. Freedom to serve God, to know who I am as a divine soul, to be connected as a soul to God, to use my body to serve God, trying to help the God mission here in doing this Facebook Live. And it's the third in, so far, 3. That makes it third. It's pretty, anyway. So, schizophrenia. A bright person who doesn't have that spiritual life, who doesn't have the God connection, who doesn't know they are a soul, yet is very bright, will, in the subconscious, know that it's a lot of BS out there, a lot of lies from everywhere, a lot of lies. So where can they retreat to? What is their world of escape? Are they going to change their sex? Are they going to have plastic surgery? They're going to go to drugs? They're going to go take a gun and shoot somebody because the world is so wackadoo? No. They have a survival mechanism that comes into place. They start creating a false world. Yep. Not like a movie, not for the sake of entertaining people, but for survival. And it's not a conscious decision to do so. They start creating a world that they can live in, that they can go to escape the BS out there. And the more they do that, the more it's ingrained and becomes real to them. But it's an escape. Now, this is the way I see things. I believe that instead of psychiatry doing what it does, labeling people with lifelong disease labels, that make them sick, that put them in facilities that they don't need to be in, that give them chemicals and drugs that they don't need, that mess up their lives totally. We need to come to truth in America. You know, America led the world in truth and goodness. Truth is the signature of God. You seek truth, real truth. You don't stop. You keep going. You learn every moment, every day. You find the best, wise teachers, and you keep going. There's always more to learn because we're very limited in what we can know. And there's always somebody knowing more to learn from. So, what does it mean to be free? It means to be the real you, to be the authentic you, not to be some commercial crap, something from an advertisement or marketing, not to be any of that stuff. It's to be you. Who's selling you you? Who's selling you you? Even religion, they're going to sell you all kinds of stuff, regardless of the truths that are there. It's a way of life, of knowing, of knowing what you really, not what you need, but knowing what you're needed for. What are you doing here? God needs you. Why are you here? Because God needs you. God needs you to do what? God needs you to show that you know God. To know that yourself are a piece of godliness, and you need that God connection, and that we need to start fixing systemically what's going on here in America, the justice system, the health system, political systems. We need to bring God back into the picture, and not as a dictatorship, but all actions of love and kindness, and to share. If you're in a given religion, fine. If you have your sense of wholeness and it works for you, fine. Then you don't need what I'm saying. But if you're looking for answers, and I'm always looking for more answers. If you're looking for answers, you need to go to the torch. You need to go to the source. And sometimes you need a facilitator in mental health. I don't believe we need psychiatrists doing what they do. It's like psychotherapist and the joke where the guy is painting the psychotherapist sign on the door. And he paints psycho, P-S-Y-C-H-O, so big, the therapist takes the next line. You got a psychotherapist. Do we need that stuff? Or do we need to know who we are as divine souls and connecting to God? So I believe we need facilitation. We need people who have answers. It's not about some shiny things. It's not about meditating. It's not about yoga. It's not about medicine. It's not about some herbs. It's not about some new machine that's you're going to put on you. It's not about all these things. Not that any of these things might not be helpful to somebody with something, but foundationally starting, if you have a building, there's a foundation and then the building blocks. Foundation needs to be you as divine soul, connecting to God, and your soul in the body and accepting what you're given. Certainly if you have obvious health challenges that need to be addressed, and physicians can help you, God forbid, with congenital deformity, etc. But otherwise, accepting who you are as divine soul. And that's the most beautiful thing possible. Thank you, God. for restoring my soul to my body and having faith in me, as in every moment, thanks and blessing. Blessing meaning connecting with God, drawing down that connection. Prayer meaning connecting with God. Giving somebody, helping somebody, connecting with God. Being godly is doing loving kindness. Being a human being is what? The be is a verb, and it's a verb of actions of loving kindness. Freedom. Divine soul connected to God. Actions of loving kindness. And all of us coming together and having not woke to nonsense, not going backwards. Woke is not going backwards. To having a true awakening in godliness, back to what the founders of America were building, where they ran from dictatorial craziness. They sought God. We need to seek God again. Each one of us needs to seek God in our life and build out the building blocks from there. Use what we have to serve God and humanity, and don't fall in line with all the BS out there. Stay free. Stay free. But that means disciplined. Disciplined. Accepting important borders and boundaries. Because once you go beyond, you think you're going to solve pain, your pain gets worse. It's like the guy who's told he needs surgery from an MRI, and he gets his back surgery, and guess what? Gets another surgery, gets a implant, stimulator implant, a morphine pump implant. When his pain, if you waited another couple of months, would have gone away. Simple, more complicated story made simple. Oh, by the way, the story I told of the tailor, that's what a lot of people are doing. They're going to somebody who has a skill, and they're selling you an outfit. They're selling you something that simply, that's what they've got. That's their profit motive. You don't need it. You don't need a suit that doesn't fit. You don't need, because somebody does back surgery or chiropractic acupuncture, you don't necessarily need them. And somebody's passing out drugs, just because they're doing, you don't need that stuff. Where's the smarts? Fentanyl coming across the border. Nobody should be using those drugs. It needs to be stopped. And it's not about guns. It's about people. It's about us not knowing God. Once we're serving God, we'll be kind. Once families are families again, they've broken us up. We need to be connected. Be connected with the God connection through all mankind, and certainly in America. It used to be you could leave your doors, whether it's the home or the car, open, and the neighbors cared. I knew my neighbors cared about me, and I cared about them. And what happened today? You know, we need to have love and unity. And I said before in the Hebrew, love is Ava, and the numerical equivalent is 13 of Ava. And unity or union is Echad, oneness. And it's also a number equivalent of 13. You know, you want to love, show loving kindness. That means you want to be united and connected. So be connected with yourself as a divine soul, very content with the body God gave you, understanding the wholesomeness of the soul-body relationship, understanding that your soul needs to be in a marriage with God, so to speak, especially this time of Pesach and freedom, where God showed his love biblically, that we know that God loves us and cares about us, and using your passion, your energy, your wholesomeness and truthfulness to serve God. It's not about serving the pleasure of the body, to serve God and be thankful for everything God gives us, and let's bring America back to the wholesomeness we once had. Hopefully something there makes sense for somebody. I'm going to have a great Pesach, and wishing everybody else healthy, happy, safe holidays. Connect at your meal, dinner tables. Connect with each other as souls. Put those phones down. Shut the TV off. Connect with each other. Show love. Show love to each other. Give people your time as the soul you are. Forget the body crap. Forget the stuff, as important as it can be. Connect with each other. It's not about you. It's about how you're serving God and others. All right, to be continued. Love.